Welcome to Comsverse. I hope you're having a great conference. We have Western Oppanen today with us, who's going to present getting started with Teams bots without coding, hashtag low code. Take it away, Vasil.
Thank you, Chirag. Hey, good morning, everyone. And as said, the second day of Comsverse, early morning here in Finland, 8 a.m. I'm sure it's even more earlier in Britain, 6 a.m. So I hope you have plenty of coffee with you with these live events or doing online events. You really need to have your own coffee. I can't provide you any from here. And as said, today or this next 45 minutes is going to be about bots. It's about be about Teams, and it's about bots as well. How to get started with Teams bots, and you don't have to code. You don't have to be kind of the developer for this. And saying that, let's just say a warm thank you for our. Okay, and let's not skip our sponsors. Warm thank you for all the vendors, sponsors who have been contributing for this event. This would not be possible without you guys. So thank you. Without you people, that was the kind of important topic as well. So thank you for being there. My name is Vesku Nopanen. My real name is Vesa Nopanen, but most of the Vesas are Veskus in Finland. And I love Teams. Of course, yeah, I'm a Microsoft MVP because for Office Apps and Services, because of my passion for Teams, but I'm also passionate for modern work as well. So I'm a principal consultant and I work for Sulava, a Finnish company that was born in the cloud, concentrating on the Microsoft 365 and delivering great experience for lots of organizations throughout the world. So please feel free to reach out for me. Connect with me at LinkedIn or follow me at Twitter, say me hi. And of course, I'm writing a blog of my own, so that it's mostly focused on Teams, but there's more and more stuff about Power Automate and also about the bots as well. And why these are important? Why the applications and bots are important? Because Microsoft Teams is the hub of work. It's a kind of a platform where you can bring in more capabilities, more integrations. You are using the single canvas for those. So you don't have to do a context switch. You are not switching between applications. You are not going to the other browser window. You are not going to the on a phone switching, finding okay, where's my the other application I have. Perhaps I have to sign in or not. So bringing all these capabilities through Teams, that's a real superpower as well. It's kind of making things more than it is. It is just not about the meetings, collaboration, files, co-authoring, having fun with your team, but it's also about the business applications and how you can really start using Teams to bring those capabilities to your end users. Hey, they could be field workers, first-line workers, just using your mobile phone. And one other great thing is about adoption. When you are teaching something new to these people, they're already using Teams. They already know how to use it. So when you are just bringing in some capabilities, they can start using. So you're focusing your training and coaching and adoption part only towards those parts. You don't have to tell them everything about the new applications. For example, if you bring in the full dynamics there, some people, it's going to take a long time to take advantage of those. But instead, if you just bring the bots applications to Teams and focus only for the need they have there, it's going to be much simpler for the users. And today, I'm going to talk about how to get started with this. I'm going to show demos. Yes, this is just not about the slideshow. We have plenty of slides, but I'm going to go to demos and show around as much as possible. First, it's about Teams application templates, what they are and what you can do with them. And then my recent favorite subject is about Power Virtual Agents and how to get started in there. All right. This is the myth I was still living even through a few months back in early this year about how difficult it is to create Teams applications, and they usually require developers. They take planning, they take some time to create. But what if I told you that using these Teams application templates, you can get started today? You could deploy these to your production in hours if that application template fits your need, instead of doing a development project. A project that will take at least several days or weeks, even months sometimes. So what they are? They are production-ready packages. They are easy to deploy, and you can integrate them to Teams quite painlessly. It just takes a few hours. And most of that time is going to be used for waiting for the Azure deployment to complete. It's not that work is intensive, but of course, before you are really starting to put into the production, you have to, of course, you want to test it and see how really does it fit your need or not. But they are also excellent apps for proof of concepting, showcasing what you can do with applications with Teams. How do you extend Teams, and what kind of possibilities there are, and then start thinking about your business processes, how you can kind of build on this picture. And one of the biggest, I think this is a great asset compared to, for example, store application, is that you know where your data is stored. It's in your Azure. When you deploy Teams application to the Azure, you know the Azure subscription, where the data is. You can look through the structure of the code. You know where the data is, how it's managed. And there are three types of templates. There are bots, there are more generic Teams applications, and there's, of course, Power Apps packages. But today I'm going to talk about bots, and no, you don't have to code. And as an example, from the kind of the end result perspective is the FAQ plus V2. I really like this bot because it's easy to manage, and kind of it creates instant value for these FAQ situations where you have to provide your HR, for example, or IT a new channel to provide support to your end users without adding new persons to your IT team, for example, just to answer the questions. So using this kind of approach is kind of really easy way to extend your current team. And we can take a look how it looks like. It's an application here in Teams, and I already asked it about it take a chore. So it comes with a kind of a preset chore version. It's going to be waking up that bot at the same time, and hopefully I get the result. Okay, now it's coming back to me, and I can have a few cards. So this is something you can build to your applications, but this is built in. I haven't done any changes to this FAQ. This is as is. And so I can go ahead and ask a question about this. What are chatbots, for example? It's going to go through the Q&A database and get the answer from there. And it's a nice adaptive card. I have a picture. Yes, idyllic. And I can open the article. It will open the page somewhere. In this case, it's just a kind of a about the FAQ app template. But also, I can share a feedback about it, or I can ask an expert. Traditionally, with Q&A, you just have questions and answers. But this Ask an Expert makes this more special because now I can connect to the person. I can say, tell me more about these chatbots. And this is about one example how you can use Teams and these bots to interact with people. And I'm going to send it to the expert. As you notice, I don't have to sign in or anything. And it's going to tell me it's been sent to the expert. They will send the response directly. And going to the experts team, I can see there's already a question in here. and tell me more about these chatbots. There's a question requesting support, so this can be really used for support cases as well. And there's the question. I can go ahead and chat with myself. No, it doesn't make any sense now, but directly with the requester, or I can choose to do it kind of a small ticketing stuff, and I can view the article, what they are referring to. For example, okay, I have some information why it is not answering the question, or if there's an additional question. And so this is one way to interact with users and engage with that support team. And here is the messaging extension part of the bot. These are all installed with the application template, by the way. I can see, okay, what are the recent questions? Have they been assigned? If they are assigned, which are assigned to me? And there's even the knowledge base. So I can browse through the Q&A database through here. And what is more important is that I can start adding new questions and answers pairs directly from Teams there. So this is a great example of this application template. This can fit a lot of organizations' needs. And this is not the only one. There are other examples. I really like the company communicator because that was very widely used during the coronavirus, this spring of different kind of spring we had this year, the kind of communicating information directly to the end users in Teams. So you could choose Teams or everyone in the company to send messages. You could do a remote support, which is kind of subset of this FAQ bot. Could have Scrum statuses, finding the experts, reporting incidents, and there are several other possibilities that you can go through in that application templates page. And yeah, this is the page, and you can see you can view through what kind of templates there are, what kind of applications you could start installing to your team. Or to your Teams and to your Azure, and hey, it's getting larger and larger list. And this serves also as a kind of a here's the FAQ plus it serves as kind of a basis for your changes. For example, this FAQ plus bot, perhaps it should be sending the ticket directly to your ticketing system. Just making changes to that bot. It's not low-code anymore. It's not in the scope of today. But the thing is that you can take this from GitHub and start making changes that match your business needs. That's powerful because you are getting a head start. You are skipping through kind of squares 1, 2, and 3, and you go directly to 4 and start making changes, bringing more value. And these are, so that's kind of examples why these are interesting. So how they are deployed? Well, they are going with deployment steps. Each of these app template comes with a deployment guide. Of course, you read it first before you start deploying. And some of these applications, like this FAQ, requires to have an experts team that exists before you start deploying it, because you have to give its ID there. Or use some users who are going to manage things, like in the company communicator, you have the people who are authorized to send those messages. So you just may have some pre-work you need to set up before. It may be just as simple as choosing the users or creating a new team. Not that difficult. It's not going to take a long time. And it's going to go for your Azure subscription. So you need to check that you have one, you have money there, or you have a payment method there. And then you are going to be following the deployment guide for steps like registering the applications, deploying the solution, deploying the Teams app. But we can take a look at the deployment guide because it's going to tell you a lot more. Or actually, I start with this FAQ plus V2 page at GitHub. It's going to show the source. It's going to show the releases here, and it's going to okay. Let's back there. I accidentally hit my mouse there. Is that it's going to show information about the documentation, deployment guide, and architecture. Architecture contains usually also a cost estimate, how much this is going to cost, an overview. But we go for the deployment guide and go through a few important steps here. It's going to tell you prerequisites. So what kind of services it's going to be creating, what kind of services you need, something that may catch your eye there. So you need to know, okay, your Azure subscription has to support these services or your region. And so you need to be able to, you have to check that first. And so, okay, the team with the group of experts, this is referring to the FAQ experts team, for example, the HR team that would be answering those questions. You need to download a copy of this. You can get it directly from this GitHub. So you just basically go here and download the code. And well, some question answers pairs you will use to populate the Q&A maker as a base. And you start registering Azure applications. And this is a great guide because I'm not going to go through all the steps here because you can all read this text there, but it's just on the high level. You create the application and there are settings. You just follow this guide, usually one-to-one. If I have found out that there's sometimes some inconsistencies, but then just have to figure out what they are. They are usually very plain. For example, like this is saying, okay, go for the multi-tenant, it's okay, and it's saying here multiple organizations. So if it's saying here a single organization, then you know you did something wrong. And then you just delete the registration and start over or do changes here. And you will have to create a client secret for that. And having this value, you kind of store them in your OneNote or a notebook somewhere. Just make sure that you don't have extra spaces there. And then you go to deploy the Azure subscription. This is actually a link. It looks like an image, but this is a button. You click on it and it will open the Azure and start kind of doing the creation process. So if I open this one, it will kind of go for the using the ARM template. Okay, let's see if it's going to open it and going for the custom deployment. And I'm going to be choosing the subscription. I'm going to be choosing the location. And when you are choosing the location, it is very important that you choose a location that supports these services they need. And resource group, always create a new one. And then you're going to be creating a base resource name that has to be unique. It has to be a totally unique name. So yeah, you just can't use let's do FAQ 123. Somebody else has already taken that. So invent a new name that may have something about your company in it. It may have something about the date, something like that. And the client ID is from the application registration you did in the previous phase. It's application ID, client ID, bot ID. They're all the same ID, just using different names. The secret, and then there's going to be a configuration app client ID. That was the second application you created for this FAQ. And then you have the admin list, for example. There's the display name. You can change it, for example, having a different description. You can change the icon. You have the tenant IDs, and then you go for the pricing stuff here on the plan sizes and figure them out, and then you kind of purchase it. Doesn't cost anything. And the deployment, which is going to take a while. So in the guide, you will see that there are these places like that must be in a data center that supports these services, and they are listed here. The base name is told here to reminded about being unique. This is kind of list what you put to, and where, and you have the examples here. So it's really easy to get started. It took me a while before I was thinking about, okay, Azure, I'm not going to attach that. That was a fail. Don't think like that. Don't repeat after me about that. Just go there and start experimenting in your demo environment. If you have the Azure subscription, you can use there. And when it's done, then you will set up the configuration app for this bot that allows you to select the Q&A database, for example, and stuff in there. And you create a Q&A database or you use existing one, and here's a good guide for that. And you need the knowledge base ID, which is here. And after that, you open the configuration page there. As you see, there's the base resource name. It's added with -config. And then you put team ID, which is the experts team ID and knowledge base ID. So you can change this. And the help tab. Yes, there's a help tab in the bot, and it's right. Okay, it's in here, so you can use that section to kind of put the information you want in here. I only added the Sulava text. It's kind of the making it kind of more, just making a little change to show it's possible. All right, and then you will need a link to the team, or actually the team ID, and there's a really easy way to get it. And I really like the way they wanted to point it out, is that if I go to my team here and I get a link to a team, this is actually very useful if you are doing Graph Explorer things, and that's a bit more on the coding part, is that because when you take a link to a team, okay, let's just copy that. Did I copy it or not? Okay, get link to a team and copy and open a notepad. And when I have the notepad here, I can put it here and I can see the group ID, which is a team ID. This is a really nice trick. And then it's in here. You put the information and then you start creating the Teams application packages. Okay, I'm going to go back to slides here because this is what I explained right now to have the information, and always use your new resource group because these create some services that are very strangely named. Sometimes you don't really know to which bot or application they would belong to. So when you have a resource group and if you need to delete it, it deletes all the services as well. Watch out for the name already in use issue. That was the most common one I got. Then sometimes you may get the region does not support all services. So kind of pre-select the region and check them out before doing that. And there can be some strange issues sometimes that that are not that common, but whatever, when you have an issue, whatever you do, determine the error, and then you delete the resource group, and then you wait. With all these operations, you have to wait before they are complete, or otherwise you will encounter new issues. So that was something I learned as well. And so start over, do it again. It's not that long. Deploying it to Azure may take 15 minutes. It may take 1.5 hours. So it's there's only a little thing you can do while waiting, and that's creating a Teams application. And how you connect these bots to Teams? It's you create a kind of the application, which is just a Teams manifest. So all the code is in Azure. It's going to be deployed there. We just need to tell Teams, okay, this is the name and this is the bot ID we are going to be using. So you have to get the manifests folder at least, and you download it to yourself. And then it looks a bit codish, but it's not. It's still no code. It's just editing a couple of config files. You have to be you are creating two applications. That was the end user bot you saw first. I was asking questions, and then there's the experts team where you can create new knowledge base articles and assign them to the users and contact the person asking help. And you put the information to the manifest files. They're just named as manifest underscore end user and manifest underscore SME JSON subject matter expert file, and you put the developer information, so your company information, bot ID is there, so it's very clearly marked there, and then you put your valid domain, which is your base resource name there, and it's that simple. And then when you have this, I was using the remote support demo here. When you have this view, you will create 2 zip files. So you basically copy the manifest file from end user and you rename the copy, rename it to manifest.json. And then you choose the color, manifest, and outline and create 1 zip file. And then you create the other one. You can't have any folders there or anything like that. And after that, you can upload them to Teams and start testing. So on the application templates, it's really easy to get started. Start testing them in your dev or test environment. Don't start with production, of course not. And make sure that they match your needs, everything works as it should, and then deploy it to your production. You have to keep tracking on Azure costs. On default, they are creating on the services that are standard, and they're going to be costing. So if you start using them, then you're going to be using some €100 easily for that. So check them around, tweak with the pricing plans for these services, ask help from an Azure expert if you need one. And whatever you do, wait for the operations to complete. And if you are doing tests, then when you are done them and you know you're not going to be using them in your dev environment, delete those application bots. Hey, they are easy to redeploy if you need it. And before deploying to production, if you want to do changes, talk to your developer about that. Okay, that was the first part. Now, the fun part, the Power Virtual Agents. Do you think that was fast to deploy those apps? Well, of course, I didn't show you, but it was the matter of hours. And then when you start thinking about the conversational bot, we weren't using the conversational bot in the FAQ. It was just asking some simple questions, but create a conversational bot with intelligence and machine learning, it's going to take time and lots of skills. And again, wrong. It's even faster than deploying application templates. But if you have a really simple flow of conversation, you could be done in 30 minutes and it's in production. Whoa, that's fast. That's what I really like about the Power Virtual Agents, because they give you the platform. They are giving you the tools to create smart conversational bots. They are easy to create, easy to change. So when your needs change, you can adjust to those needs, adjust to those rapid change kind of requirements you have, and you don't have to do coding there. And when you would, but the best part is that you can enhance them with low coding stuff. So Power Automate, and with Power Automate, you can connect to basically anything. You could have backend systems that has information about the vacation information or the tracking your hours. They could, of course, they can be used to connect to the sales information, warehouse information, whatever. And you would be doing that with the conversational chat. And why is that? Why the chat is great is that they are used really as a chat in Teams. So you can use the Teams application. Your first-line worker can ask, okay, what's the saldo for this product, or give me the product information. And because the Power Virtual Agents have some context, they can remember the information. Okay, you selected this product, so you're still asking questions about that product, and creating all that flow there to bring in the information, do actions based on that. That's a really powerful tool. Yeah, you could be building a Power App to do lots of that, but it's still about, I think the beauty is here, how simple is this? This could be done with the more power user in HR or in sales. Somebody is starting to create and tweak these flows. So it's really great. But I promised demos, so I'm going to first show you quickly how they look in the end user side, and then going through some of the examples in some Power Virtual Agents side. Okay, let's see where I am there, and I already have this HR Virtual Assistant open, so it's also as an app. It's really easy to install to Teams, and it's going to be easier to install in the future as well. I can use this to connect to several services. For example, I can do some generic questions like office hours. I'm not sure. I just thought this might work. Okay, wake up bot. Okay, so it doesn't really know the office hours, so it's going to go through the database. Are our offices safe? For example, this is doing the same thing with Better Answer. Basically, it's going for the Q&A database that has been connected to this Power Virtual Assistant. It's going to fetch for the information. It could go through the SharePoint lists, CDS, and then go for the Q&A to get the questions. When HR office is open, and it's of course fun when you don't do any changes to the demo script right in the moment when you're talking. I didn't actually plan to have this included first, but I thought it's great to show you. Okay, this was an example defined directly inside the PVA planner or designer. And this example I gave earlier was about it was getting the answers from the Q&A database. So there are different sources, and you can combine these to the same bot. Do you think I have vacation days left? What about if I start asking from the backend? Okay, so it's telling me in order to continue, I have to identify you. I can create this identification very nicely. It doesn't ask me for my credentials. So it's just going to say, okay, I'm Vesku. Yes, I am. You have 12 days of vacation left. And that's actually a SharePoint list, but let's not go to that. And I can ask Steve how much I have saldo hours left. Let's just do that. I don't have to have an exact choice. So it's going to be checking from backend again, but this time it's not asking for my name because it's already authenticated me in. So it knows who I am. And if I want to send an HR message, okay, this demo is working great. Thank you. And so I can kind of create this conversational things. Do you want to include your name? Okay, this time yes, but I can choose no, I don't have to. So it could send an anonymous message to HR. And it's going to tell me, okay, it's in there. And if I go ahead and take a look, yeah, hopefully you had lots of coffee already. Going for the HR team. So it was connecting through Flow to this HR team and showing me letting them know that, okay, this message I sent, and they have added a task to the team planner. So it's in here, the HR actions. So there's going to be interaction. I could put things to the planner based on the conversations we have. It can go to the SharePoint list, this information, and getting the information from about my vacation days, for example. It was just a SharePoint list, but it should be a real backend system where you have the information. So it can identify the user. Okay, this is the user. Let's go ahead and fetch the information and show that to the user. And going through in Teams, it doesn't have to do any more authentication. So that works in mobile as well. So you could do those checks. You can create tickets. You can create opportunities. You can connect to lots of environments. And how do you do that? I'm not going to create a new bot starting from scratch, but I could start creating a new bot from there. It wouldn't take that long time. But since I'd rather show you some of the topics and how they've been done. So, for example, this HR department open hours. These are trigger phrases I have, or there are. And I didn't remember any of these, but eventually I got there without knowing it exactly, because there's some intelligence there that's trying to figure it out. And then you have the canvas. this kind of designer, and this is a really simple flow. It's just showing the message, and I can do changes to that message really easily. Okay, that's not difficult. What about going through the accumulated vacations? I have several trigger phases there, but the canvas is more interesting. Is that I have a message, and then I have a call to action, and it's showing the bot username here, but I don't do the authentication here, and the bot username is defined in some other topic, and once that has it encounters this username and it hasn't been given, so it's going to jump to the path where I'm going to get that username and go through the login path and get the information, and then go to the vacation days in flow, and then returning the information. So what's in the flow? And this is a simple one, so that's why it's very good to show. It's going to open the manage the flow. There's some run history. Luckily, everything is succeeded. And this is a really simple implementation. But what I'm getting is from the Power Virtual Agent, I'm getting that username. And then I'm going to get these items from the list with vacation days, and finding out that specific person. I think it was in here. I can title equals username, so it's not that difficult. I'm getting only one. And I'm getting the vacation days and putting them to this variable, and I'm returning this variable. I could have several variables there back to the Power Virtual Agent, and then hi, I'm going to use the display name that was got through the authentication part as well, and here the vacation days, and that's it, showing the information. And when I was sending the HR message, it's a bit similar. There are a few more questions in here. I can go ahead and ask a question, get the response, put it to the variable. Do I want to include the username or not? And then do things based on those answers. If it's no, or for some reason something else, I would not have to choose yes or no from the screen. I could write no, and then it's going to go there and kind of use the default values. So it's not going to be using my real name there, but in this case, it's going to go to the flow and putting the username and information there, opening the flow, and in there, and let's see how it looks like. This is quite a hands-on stuff and showing how it's done. But in Power Virtual Agents, it's really simple getting the information. I'm going to be creating an item to that HR team. Then I create a planner task, and then I post a message to the HR team. And then I'm just returning a value. I don't have any value to return because it was deemed a success, basically. And this is the way to create them. And in the authentication part, that might be a question in your mind, is that it's using the authenticate call to action, which is built in. And since it's going to be running in Teams, it can already understand the user, and it's going to be logged in, but we are having only the token. Then we have to go and use the premium flow connector and get the user information. And yeah, I can show that very briefly as well, because it's not that complicated. I have this written out in my blog, so if you are really interested to create this, I have the token, and I get the URI call to Graph API. Who am I? I have this token with me, and I go ahead and parse the JSON part, basically to get the information like user principal name and display name. I might have other information like phone numbers and whatever, but from that part, from that forward, you could do things as user as well if you have to, because you have the token. You can use the token to work with that. And there's parts for publishing and things, but the thing is that this is not Teams only. You can create these bots to several other channels as well. So you can reuse your bot in just in other places as well. In a demo site, embed that to your intranet, for example, if you want to. And that's kind of a very quick way of showing kind of tidy bits there that you can get started. But I didn't show you how to get started with a bot. I wanted to kind of include it in here. Is that, for example, get started with that in a dev or another test tenant. The trial is 30 plus 30 days, so you don't want to start testing for nothing in your production. Save that to the real case where you start to have to do a proof of concept with your real users, so they can test that bot out. But you do the proof of concepting in your dev environment, and you go to the powerva.microsoft.com, and you can get started really easily. Hey, what's my region? Give a name to the bot. It's going to take 15 minutes, and the bot will be there. Start exploring it, and it's up and running. And here is a great instruction for you: is how to get started authoring the first bot. It's really easy. And Power Virtual Agents, these are the thing. These are basically the superpower. You can start creating things easily with conversational bots. And I'm almost out of time. I'm already seeing. Thank you, Chirag, for being there. And you posted a link to the post-session networking. I will join there. You can ask me for direct Q&A. I can show you more demos and details about this in there. And please feel free to contact me if you have questions here.
That's great. Thank you, Vesku. Really appreciate that. Great session. Like the demos, they were on your side, and very well done. So thank you, attendees, for joining Vesa's session. And as Vesku mentioned, that I've posted the link in the Q&A. So please go ahead in a few minutes, and then Vesku can join you in that session. And so if you have any questions or any clarity, then feel free to do so. But until then, thanks, Vesku, for giving up your time, and enjoy, everybody, the rest of the conference.
Yes, have fun. Join my session tomorrow as well.
Great, thanks.
Yes, thank you.